Hi guys, come with me, let's make Port Harcourt native soup. In preparing this soup, I'll be making use of some uziza leaves, some ngolo, which is known as whelks, some ground offal, some periwinkles, some dried crayfish, fresh pepper, onions, dried catfish, some stockfish, and some mangala, also known as African bony tongue. Of course, I'll be making use of goat meat, so I already washed and prepped it. Now I add it to the pot and add some seasoning cubes to it, as well as water and some salt. And then I'll leave it to boil for some minutes. While my meat is boiling, I put my stockfish in a bowl and pour hot water on it. I do this so that I can take out the dirt and insects that might be living inside it. When I'm done, I add it to the already boiling meat, stir, and cover the pot to boil some more. I also prepare my dry crayfish by taking out the head and placing it in a separate bowl. I'll be making use of that later. Then I place the head of crayfish in a blender alongside the onion and pepper, and I'll be blending them. At this point, I also need to prepare my periwinkle, so I'll be removing what I call the eye from the periwinkle. You know that scaly thing that is on the eye of the periwinkle? I don't like to have them in my meal, so I take my time to take them out of the periwinkle. Once I'm done, I go back to check on my meat, and then I add my pepper and onion mix. Then stir properly and leave to boil again. Now it's time to prepare the odogu of the soup. I call this the odogu because this is the most expensive thing in the soup. But believe me, it is worth every penny. After some few minutes, it's time to add oil to the soup. So I measure my oil with a spoon, the way our grandmothers used to do it, and add to the soup. Stir and then add my periwinkles. It is important to note that this soup requires all the meat and fish you can afford, so be generous with your spending. I also add my ngolo at this point and then cover to boil. After some minutes, I add my uziza, and you should know that the uziza is a thickener, so you don't want to put too much so your soup doesn't become too thick. After stirring, I leave it to boil for some minutes. Now it's time to add my mangala fish to the soup, and then my odogu dried catfish. Guys, you need to see what this soup looks like and tastes like at this point. Then I add some ground crayfish, and you want to be generous with this as well, as it adds some nice and very delicious taste to your soup. I add little water to loosen the thickness of the soup and then stir properly so it could mix. Then add some seasoning cubes to give it that unique taste. Now it's time to add the salt, and I'll be using a little bit of it. I stir again so everything could mix properly, and then I add my big dried crayfish. Once you've added this, your soup is almost ready. The last thing you need to add is your uziza, and I'm doing that right now. And guys, let me tell you, the aroma from the soup at this point is out of this world, and the taste can send you to your village. Anyway, my Port Harcourt native soup is ready, and I would have called you to join me, but you said you don't eat outside. So enjoy the video, and I'll see you in my next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.